You can hear it? I'm going to start talking because this is a test. This is a test. Testing the microphone. You can't hear anything? It's on a delay, so give it a second.
Yeah. Oh, it's also behind.
You can hear it? I'm going to start talking because this is a... It's on a delay, so give it a second. This is a test. This is a test. Testing. 1, 2, 3. Hello. Yeah.
For the delays, everybody, we've had some major technical problems at work we've got some plans to try to have some backups in the future that we can maybe go to a camera backup if we have problems with the sound system recording. We'll go ahead and go to public comments. Item number 1. Anybody would like to make a comment, if you can state your name and 3 minutes. Seeing none, we'll move to item number 2, discussion about the winter road maintenance of the Dry Lakes Road. This is requested by Harold Mitchell. Sorry, Mr. Mitchell, we've been so long.
Every time I come in this room, I think that I ought to see Judge Burns or Judge Hughes sitting there. The clerk over here and the witness over here.
You don't even have a jury box anymore.
Not anymore. Anyway, my name is Harold Mitchell. We own the land where the Dry Lakes Road crosses. If you leave SR 143, the highway in Fairwind Canyon, start at the Dry Lakes Road. As soon as you leave the highway, you're on our property. And you're on our property for just somewhere between 2.4 and 2.5 miles up the road. After that, you cross a cattle guard, and the road parallels our fence line up to the entrance to the Monuments Academy. The maintenance of the road's getting out of hand. Not complaining about how well it's maintained. It gets wider every time somebody grades it, or every time somebody plows the snow. The road gets wider. Somebody sticks their blade out on the grader and gets some material from the bank and shoves it over the edge. Over the years, the county and Monuments have hauled tons and tons of red gravel up there. It doesn't stay on the road, especially this last winter when the road was kept open during the winter. Every time you plow it, the gravel, of course, goes over the edge down, so the road gets wider. And somebody decides this tree's in the way, so they knock the tree down to make the road wider. It's just, we need to do it different. I don't have a good solution. We need to do it different. My preference would be to have the road just stay closed in the winter. Neither the surface of the road nor its geometry is designed to handle the drainage and have winter maintenance on it. I understand that might not be possible because of the Monuments Academy operation. They need to be safe. They need to have access for their boys that are up there, and that somehow we need to either deal with the drainage or something. For instance, this last winter, we paid for a cattle guard a couple of years ago, and the grader or the plow hit the edge of the cattle guard, and it's bent. Years ago, we put some rocks in a place or two along the side of the road to keep people from driving off the road. they got in trouble up there and they took the rocks to help build up the road. There's one place where it's, after the road is not on our property anymore, it's right below this edge of the fill slope, and the stuff that's been pushed over has destroyed the fence. So I'm just concerned we somehow need to do it differently. I met with, I called the road superintendent, he told me to meet with Monuments, I did. They said, well, we'll take care of it, nothing happened. And the worst place is, apparently they had a really bad incident sometime this spring where they got a vehicle stuck. They got a backhoe to get the vehicle out, and the backhoe got stuck. And they got a bigger backhoe. So I stepped it off about 50 feet on one side of the road and 45 feet on the other side. They just made a mud hole. Now they've all gravel in and the road's built up, probably 4 feet above the ditches on the side. And it's just a mess. You really can't go clean it up because if you do, it just makes it worse. If you go grade the mud hole, it just makes it worse. And they also put some kind of plastic mesh in the road in an attempt to stabilize it. That's exposed now. And so somehow we just need to could do it differently and have whoever maintains it, the county or Monuments, not make the road any worse. You all know when you grade a dirt road and it's on the hillside, the grader lays gravel out over the edge and it leaves a little berm. And so there's no way for the water to get off, so the water runs down the road and causes erosion. And I'll tell you that more of the red gravel is off the road than is on, and where is it, it's over in the meadows in another place, because it's just washed over there. So I just wanted to express my concerns and see if we could somehow get a better solution.
No, it's not a great solution, a great place for a boys' home, being that far up there. Here's Bruce. So up Dry Lakes Road, he's concerned about them maintaining.
Talked on the
Yep.
phone.
Yep. How are you?
Bruce, you can come up to Mike.
Yeah, let's just discuss this a little bit.
So,
Okay.
the winter home is using that through the winter, they're getting stuck, they're putting gravel, if they put fabric down to
So it gets-
reinforce. probably
They're in charge
fabric
of that
as
road.
well.
They've done, there is a, what's it called?
Conditional use.
Conditional use permit where they take care of the road, and they've, so far, that I've seen, they've went and fixed the ruts and put that fabric in.
Harold said the fabric's exposed now, I guess.
Yeah, it is. I did notice that as well.
This year was a bad year, we all
They
know
just put it
that,
in this
so,
year.
did they?
I guess he's.
The guy that runs that, I think they're behind, the guy that runs that part of their deal,
Uh-huh.
he also does the horse part of that. I don't understand the whole
Oh,
thing.
yeah.
But he got bucked off and broke his back, so he's been out for, I don't know how long. So maybe I haven't talked with him, that's just what I've heard. I don't know that was the issue or not. Yeah.
Would you say they're meeting their obligation under the conditional use permit?
To me, they have. Have you seen any otherwise, Rick? Yeah, to me, they've met it. I haven't seen any. I know Harold's here discussing what he doesn't think they have, but
They hit into the cattle garden at the
I don't
side.
know about that, I
And
didn't
then
see
somebody
that.
got stuck, and then
at the
they
stuck
got
spot.
backhoe stuck, and
Yeah.
so then that messed up the road, and
Sorry, I didn't, I could send this to you, John, is that working?
Yeah. So they do have, they do have a permit to do what they're doing.
yeah.
Yeah, permit from my understanding, given that. It was, it's all, or this.
They're supposed to park up there, but we've got them at the fairgrounds at this point because they were parking all through Carolyn, and that wasn't great either.
What if you and a representative from their company and Bruce get together, or Maryland, Yeah, where she overalls and go up there and do a field
I would
trip.
love to do that.
That might be the best, but
You talked to them before and they didn't seem like they did
The thing
anything.
I'm very most worried about is the road just keeps getting wider and wider and wider. When they got their conditional use permit, I met with the planning commission, and they wanted to request that maybe when you go up there with them and allow them to make some places that you can pass on two-way traffic.
You talk into the mic.
I'm sorry.
Yeah, that's good.
My voice is such that anybody can hear me. But anyway, you know, the road was not a two-way road all the way. There were places you could not pass. And Steve Platt asked me if I would do that, and I said, yeah, we want to be good neighbors. Let's go figure out. And they just went and widened the road. I mean, the whole thing is more than 2 lanes, the whole road now. And, you know, it's just an undedicated road that's just there by use. And so, you know, the county's easement goes from the top of the cut slope to the bottom of the fill slope. And I shouldn't say the county's, the public easement. And now that's, you know, 20 feet, 30 feet wider than it used to be.
It's part on our maintenance though, right, Bruce, in
It
the
is.
summertime?
It is, I measured where I could, well,
I measured it.
Come up. Or,
So I went out there after I talked to Reed about this. He asked me to come today. So I measured the road, and the portion that public is using is a regular travel way. In my measurements, is 13 to 15 feet. Then there is a runoff, a borrow ditch on both sides, so it does get to 20, and in some places maybe 22 feet. But that's just the nature of running a road. I don't think we could decide who is pulling out to pass each other and using the borrow ditch. Could be any number of users. So, but I looked at it and I think the grader's doing a good job. He's got his challenges. This is the portion where whoever got stuck with screwing in. It's nice to see where they went off and they got stuck and they're trying to put it back together. But it's one of those situations where I don't know, other than not getting stuck, how they would have dealt with it. And obviously, they got two vehicles stuck, the backhoe and the car. But I can't address the winter issue because I've never driven the road in the winter to see how they're plowing it and keeping it open. But this is what it looked like just last Thursday. And that's a section of the road. It's probably what, Bruce, 200 feet
long,
long.
yeah,
Yeah.
a little less than 100. Okay.
But again, I think what I'm gonna suggest is, I think the commissioners should go up and take a look and maybe look at the road and then get together and give us some ideas how we could do it different. That's been what's suggested, is that we do it different.
I wonder, I've just had a chance to think about this since we put it on the agenda, but, I mean, how much of this is the problem and how much of this was the problem of the big winter? I'm just wondering.
It would be impossible to say. We've had this same issue on roads all over the county. And we're still,
This year.
the Black Mountain is still like this, right?
Gold Creek.
Yeah, Gold Springs is still like this. We're having this issue all over. But it's hard to say. It'd be impossible to say, is this environmental or is it caused, right? It's hard to say. Because we did have an above average. The thing that we can say is it probably didn't happen before they were there, that we know of, right? Because the people that were the key players then aren't here anymore, so they may have had to fix it and it's possible to. But we just don't know.
Well, I still think a meeting with Marilyn and Harold and you
Amen.
and the boys group, just go up there and drive it.
Absolutely. Be more than
We've
willing
got
to
some
do that.
concern. Would that be okay?
Oh, absolutely.
That's your solution.
You know, I guess I'm just too old. I can remember when it wasn't a high-speed road,
Yeah,
and it is now.
there's lots of
High-
cabins up
very-
there.
Very, that's relatively high speed. And to the extent that a couple of years ago, somebody came down on the wrong side of the road in a side-by-side, head-on into my Jeep. Thank goodness nobody got hurt, but the impact was enough to total the Jeep. So, you know, the road is vastly different than it used to be.
We're having those same issues up
Yeah.
above also, the whole road,
Yeah, our
clear
whole
up
county.
and around,
Everywhere.
yeah, the whole well, yeah, the
Our
whole
whole
county,
county.
really.
But I would be happy to meet with anybody. I want to be a good neighbor. I just don't like to be stepped on. That's all.
Bruce and I will work and get a meeting set up, so, can you give us your contact information? You have that on your application? Okay.
Yeah.
I'll make sure we get to the commission.
I'd love to do that.
Harold, are you down here all the time?
No.
Or give you how many days?
Depends on what the guys in the black room want me to be in court of parole. Other than that, I can come anytime.
Okay.
We'll get it out far enough that we give you a good heads up.
Can I change the subject just briefly?
Sure.
I was complaining about too much gravel. Now I want to complain that there's not enough in a different spot. On 1200 North, which is a lane down at the farm, it connects between, is that a bad word I said? No. Okay. It connects between 100 West and 200 West, or 100 West and 600 West, just down past our farm there. The county used to maintain that, or at least put gravel on it. It's become impassable. We can't get from one road to the other one.
That's the one that we don't do anymore. It wasn't on our ordinance. Reyes asked us about, I think.
Yeah. Is there any way we can get some help and get some gravel in there so we can get back and forth through there?
Which one is it?
Where is it?
There's one of those that Ray has come all over.
Just north of the TA.
Just, yeah, by the TA.
Just north of, this is Reyes's house.
Oh, yeah. Just past Reyes's house.
Goes for half a mile between those.
Yeah, that's not been on our system for quite a while, years to keep track. That's, is there gates across that?
No. So it's enough on a GPS system if somebody has semis
Could
delivered.
it be
A while ago.
could we get that put on our road maintenance?
Not put down the standards.
Yeah.
Not this one?
It needs to be brought down to standards to go on our maintenance.
Well, it's not the anybody's standard right now. It needs to be passed.
It could be used by the public.
It has been for years.
It has been for years.
But we have the same question all over the county.
Yeah, just,
Will they drop that
Will you
down?
take that to your meeting though?
Yeah.
Will you bring that to your meeting? They have a meeting, every couple of weeks that they bring up issues like this.
John, what's the address? I'm not,
Well, it's 1200 North Street between 100 West and 600 West.
Just north of the TA.
Yeah, I see. Thank you.
Thanks.
All right, item number 3, presentation of 2022 independent audit by Kimball Roberts, certified public accounts.
For your patience.
Yes, thank you.
Well, now we gotta read every page, so.
Look, I made an agreement earlier on what the content of this was going to be.
Promises.
Make us pay.
No, unfortunately, we have things to do too, so we'll be the quick and easy version. We'll just basically cover the opinions for the record on the auditor's opinion, and then Rick will come up and give the opinions on the compliance. And if you guys have any questions, if that's okay, I'll get you on your way. Okay. So appreciate the opportunity to come perform the audit again. It's always a pleasure to work with your staff. Luke took a position that was, been really cemented in. Dan had done a great job and got things really in order, and but also in ways we had to urim and thumb them it a little bit as far as the spreadsheets and things. But in getting the statement together, we were successful. And
Saying Dan had some secret codes.
yeah, well, you know, I mean, just finding where he was, you know, his spreadsheets. His spreadsheets were intricate.
He likes spreadsheets.
But we got them solved, and Luke's done a great job, him and his staff, and Nicole always does a great job in the treasurer's office and her staff. And pleasure to work with county employees. Half the battle in getting a good audit is having good people to work with to get the information you need. Sometimes that becomes our most difficult part, getting the communication, like, we need this, no, we need this. And so it was very good. The audit went really well. They've changed the audit report a little bit. I'll have you turn to page 2. We won't go through it. I would have you maybe go through and read some of the new verbiage in there. And it's better organized in the opinions first, which kind of makes sense before it was at the end. But just for the record, I'll go ahead and read this. It says, first and second paragraphs here is our opinion and our report. It says, we have audited the accompanying financial statements of the governmental activities, the business type activities, the aggregate discretely presented component units, each major fund, and the aggregate remaining fund information of Iron County, a governmental unit, as of and for the year ended December 31st, 2022, and the related notes to the financial statements, which collectively comprise the county's basic financial statements as listed in the table of contents. These financial statements are the responsibility of Iron County's management. Our responsibility is to express an opinion on these financial statements based on our audit. We did not audit the financial statements of Summit Special Service District and Iron County Special Service District Number 3, which represents 100% and 100% respectively of the assets and revenues of the component units. These discretely presented component units do not have separately issued audited financial statements and are reported in the government-wide financial statements by the county. In our opinion, the accompanying financial statements present fairly, in all material respects, the respective financial position of the governmental activities, the business type activities, the aggregate discretely presented component unit, each major fund, and the aggregate remaining fund information of Iron County as of December 31st, 2022, and the respective changes in the financial position and, where applicable, cash flows thereof for the year then ended in accordance with accounting principles generally accepted in the United States of America. And that is a clean or unmodified opinion, and it's basically the best we can get. The report then further goes on, talks about the basis of our opinion, the responsibilities of management, which is you all, and the auditor's responsibility, which is further expanded into further internal control issues, and as well as continued going concern issues, and then any required supplementary information. So basically, that is what you hire us to do, give that report. Rick will cover the other reports. Again, the financial statements are presented, or you'll have a management's discussion analysis section next. That gives the reader some highlights and very condensed financials comparing last year to this year, and then you get into your statements, which I know you guys review on a regular basis. We're well into the next year, so we don't need to, unless you have questions on the statements specifically. I don't know if you've had time to review them, but basically our opinion, the numbers that are here are materially accurate. How's that? Questions, comments, concerns before I turn it over to Rick? Okay.
I just say we appreciate you guys. Your firm has been great to work with. There's a lot of questions that have to be asked, and it's good to kind of put us through those paces. It's kind of an affirmation for a lot of the, especially the folks that handle money, but all of us really that those checks and protections are in place. So we appreciate that. Thank you.
Okay, thanks, Dave. Well, it's a pleasure to be here. Because I got here a little early this morning, I was able to drive without. I'm just going to drive through Paragoon. I haven't been there for years. The old highway used to come through there to Cedar. And so I drove through, and it was fun to see the community the way it was. It reminds me of the town I grew up in, Annabelle, just up the road a ways, and it's changed dramatically. But looks like Paragon has stayed pretty much the same. It's a lot of fun.
Just the way we love it.
I return to page 85 and 86. There are several reports that we have. I'm not going to spend a whole lot of time. I'll just read the title here. This is the Independent Auditor's Report on Internal Control of Financial Reporting and on compliance and other matters based on the audited financial statements performed in accordance with government auditing standards. Now, in this report, had we had any significant deficiencies, meaning the internal controls weren't being followed, which would allow errors to be made, we would have reported it here, referenced it here. We had no significant deficiencies or material weaknesses that we found. Material weaknesses is worse than a significant deficiency, meaning that your internal controls would be such that it would require a lot of work to bring them back into segregation of duties and such. So we found no matters there, so we were able to issue a clean report there. We didn't find anything that through our audit. It doesn't mean there wasn't anything, but we didn't encounter anything during our audit. If you'll turn to the next page, pages 87 and 88, this is our independent auditor's report on compliance for each major program and on internal control over compliance required by the uniform guidance. Now, this is a report we give for the single audit. Whenever you expend more than $750,000 of federal money, you have to have a single audit. And so this is a report on the single audit. It is, we also issue our opinion in here, in that second paragraph. It says, in our opinion, the county complied in all material respects with the types of compliance requirements referred to above that could have a direct and material effect on each of its major federal programs for the year ended December 31st, 2022. And then we go through and we talk about how we perform the audit and so forth. And this is a clean opinion. Again, we found no material findings with the single audit. If we turn to page 90, kind of summarize this on page 90. This is the schedule of findings and question costs. Now, it's kind of a yes, no, did you find this? No, we didn't, so forth. So you read down through there. Under the financial statements, you'll notice financial statements had an unmodified opinion. And material weaknesses identified, no, we didn't find any, nor significant deficiencies that we consider to be a material weakness. And any non-compliance material to financial statements, which would have been reported in that one report, we found none. And conditions or events considered in the aggregate that raise substantial doubt about Iron County's ability to continue as a going concern. And that again is a no. That is in the opinion now. That's one of the things we look at. Of course, we've always looked at that, but now they have us disclose that, saying we've looked to see, make sure you can continue as a going concern. Not such a big concern for governmental entities in our area, but others, California and things like that could be an issue. So, then down at the very bottom, we talk about the federal awards. You'll notice we had no material weaknesses or significant deficiencies. And then down at the very bottom, we disclosed the program that we looked at and tested as the major program. That's the Coronavirus State and Local Fiscal Recovery Fund. And because you've had the single audit.
Where are you?
Down in the bottom, under the CFDA number, you see that?
Mm-hmm.
That's the program that we looked at. Down below it says the auditee qualified as a low-risk auditee, meaning the county, because we've had a single audit for the past 2 years and had no findings. So if you turn the pages 91 and 92 show the federal programs that you expended monies on. If you look down through those, the one with the little asterisk or star to the side of it, that Coronavirus State and Local Fiscal Recovery Fund, that's the one we audited. We have to look, when you're low risk, we have to look at least at 20% of the money. And as you can see, that $5 million is almost 90% of that $6 million that you spent. So we covered way more than we had to but because it was a major program, we had to test that. Okay? And those programs are usually under about 287,000. We don't even have to consider them to test because they're not called a B program. They're not a major program which would have any material effect on the financial. And that brings us to the last independent auditor report on page 94. This is our audit report on compliance and a report on internal control over compliance as required by the state compliance audit guide. Now this is the one where we usually have findings. Each year the state puts out a new compliance supplement we have to look at and wants to test different items. As you see on page 94, right in the middle, that shows the state compliance requirements we have to look at, see if you're complying with. Budgetary compliance, fund balance, justice courts, and so on. And so as we test those to see if you're complying with state requirements, we had no findings. We found that you're complying with all those requirements. So if we turn the page, I got mine here. At the very top of page 95, it says, in our opinion, Iron County complied in all material respects with the compliance requirements referred to above that could have a direct and material effect on the county for the year ended December 31st, 22. So we had a very good audit this year. Usually with cities and towns and counties, we have findings here because a lot of times they're unaware of some of the state compliance requirements, and so we have to disclose them. So I want to compliment the staff. Work a lot with Luke and with Nicole and the treasurer's office. She does a wonderful job. And so that's the audit. Again, we're very appreciative for the opportunity to come down and do the work. Have any questions for me? Is that quick enough?
Yeah.
Great, thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
I guess you'll approve the audit in your mission meeting. Thank you.
Sam, that meeting's gonna go to.
I believe you're in order to do that.
Well, I'll entertain a motion to approve the 2022 independent audit by Kimball Roberts.
I'll move for approval of the 2022 independent audit by Kimball Roberts, certified public accountants.
Second?
Been moved and seconded, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Motion carries, thank you. Number 4, excuse me, declaration of intent to increase property taxes on the Iron County General Fund levy. In our packet, or?
Keeping you organized.
That's what I was looking for. So that'll go along with that agenda.
Okay, so you want me to just read this? Yeah. Truth in taxation announcement requirements. The guidelines we've got. Iron County's intending to increase the general fund property tax rate. The dollar amount of the increase per year will be $5,950,000. 3, the purpose of this increase is to pay to construct a long-needed sheriff's complex and to fund continued operations for Iron County due to inflation. Number 4, the appropriate percentage of increase on the general fund tax rate is estimated to be about 99%. And then additional optional info. There will be additional information on this project coming out in the next few days and weeks. We'll have a website that will be published with many resources and information on why this is a need. And that website will be jail.ironcounty.net. There will be a a notice mailed to each property owner around August 1st. This will show the impact it will have on each property. Notice will also be published in the newspaper on August 1st and August 8th, and the public hearing will be held August 15th at 6 p.m. at Festival Hall, Room 7, and that's the large room in the end of the hall.
And Jager, I believe we're gonna shoot for tomorrow to have that website up. We've got information to get to you and stuff, so.
Okay.
Yeah, thank you.
This issue has been a long time coming. We've been talking about jail for many, many years. The need for one. Our jail is the oldest in the state. We've got some major problems with maintenance. Our maintenance director, he has to go on eBay or parts for a lot of the things. This has been very difficult for all of us in the county. Anytime we take, we have to raise taxes, it hasn't been done for many, many years in our county. And this is something I've lost sleep over. I'm sure everybody else has too in the elected position, but it's a need. We've spent hundreds of hours talking about this and researching and seeing what we need to do, contractors, architects, and we're moving forward. And continue to comment.
We worked really hard on this, and there will be a lot more information publicly very shortly.
I feel the same. It's an important project. It'll be the biggest project that Iron County probably will ever do, at least up to this point. But it's much needed, and we need to move forward with it.
Any comments from staff or elected officials? If not, we'll go to item number 5, discussion and possible approval of monument replacement.
Oh, wait, we gotta do a declaration.
Oh, whoops, I'm sorry.
Wait,
Before.
I did.
Well, that was it.
Don't we need to do a motion?
No.
No.
No. You just
That's all we have to
The
do.
requirement is to declare your intent in.
Public meeting, okay.
The posted, the agenda in the packet doesn't have that item, so the one on the screen is gonna be a little off, but the ones you have in front of you are correct.
Okay, 5, discussion and possible approval of a monument replacement and restoration committee.
All right, so this is just a grant to do our section monuments. I got it last year too, and I came and did a little presentation on it. Basically, it's the county surveyor's responsibility to monument all section corners on private property. And there's a grant, the state has a grant that we can get to help us pay for that. So I've applied for that grant, and we were given $44,084.03 for this year. So I just need to get that approved.
$44,000.
$84.03. I don't know where the 3 cents came from. I have no idea.
Is that, we subcontract that to a local surveyor?
Yes, yep, Ensign Engineering.
How many did they put in a year with that type of a?
So last year we had 52,000, but also the county, I budgeted $10,000 of county money last year and again this year. So last year they spent 62, and I think they did just over 100 monuments. It really depends though where they're at, if they have to just find them or if they have to put in new ones. There's a lot to it. We put in the grant for a lot more than this, but this is what we were given. So I'm not sure exactly how many they'll do with that money, but we're getting some done every year.
That's good,
Yeah.
that's great.
Okay.
We'll entertain a motion to approve
I would move for approval of the monument replacement and restoration committee grant.
Second.
$44,840.03.
Yes.
I'll second the 03.
Can I
that. $4,084.03.
Yeah,
Yeah.
is that right? 44084.03.
Yes.
Okay, moved and seconded, all in favor?
Just want to make sure.
Aye.
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 Okay.
Thank you. All right, 6, ordinance 2023-3, establishing a board to hear and decide appeals to recorder decisions. You're up again.
I don't know.
That was the
Talk
new,
about
that was
that
the
again?
new legislation?
Yeah, yep. So they passed legislation this past year that created a standards committee for recording. And as part of that, the commission had to pass an ordinance to have an appeals board. So basically, if they set the standard and I don't do it, then somebody can appeal to whoever you decide. They gave no guidelines. It's literally 2 lines. It just says, by this date, the county
So,
Should do we use it?
when we looked at like, some of the other counties had shared their ordinance, and they had modified their county code, and we thought, well, that's a little overkill. And, I mean,
they
there's a
done.
question as to the necessity of this thing at all, and so I wonder how much it will be used. Yeah, right. But it is an unfunded, thing of the butt mandate.
So do we just use the commission?
The commission is one option.
Yeah.
We had talked about trying to make a board of like surveyors and, title companies and stuff. Part of the problem is those would probably be the people that
That
would be,
appeal it.
so.
Yeah.
How often has this ever happened?
Well, this is
The
a
law's
brand new. It's brand new.
I know, but how often have you ever had
Did you
somebody
ever
want to
have an appeal?
Because I'm-
No, I usually just try to work it out with people.
There you go.
That's my job.
And,
my job.
and all the predecessors before, imagine that.
Yeah.
But yeah, this came from a bill that was, there was a couple of folks that got upset in north, along the Wasatch Front, and so they decided to pass.
I know that some of the other counties, they had just appointed one person. A lot of them are just using their commission. And some of them have created a whole board. I don't know that it's gonna really be that necessary, so in my opinion, I think just having you guys do it would work, but it's really up to you, not me.
I think you can probably settle these just like you have been doing.
That's my plan. But anyway, state code says you have to create the
You have
board,
to,
so,
you have to do the thing.
yeah, so that's all we're doing.
All right.
So do I need to, in a motion,
Yeah.
we need to establish the board, but then do we need to appoint a board?
So
I think just the ordinance, isn't it?
what I
Yeah,
suggest
you have to do it by
is that,
ordinance.
the ordinance will establish a board, and then in non-delegated, you've got an item that covers. And so at that point, I would suggest under non-delegated, go ahead and identify who's to be on that board.
So I would move to approve ordinance 2023-3, establishing a board to hear and decide appeals to recorder decisions.
Second?
Been moved and seconded, all in favor?
Aye.
All right. Go to the next item, it's number 7, resolution 2023-10, approving the filing of cross appeals to 2023 appeals filed by taxpayers subject to central assessment.
Where did this come from?
So this is a recommendation of our attorney that does centrally assess, Tom Peters, and it has to do with the black iron and other, it basically, it's an authorization to do appeals along, to counter their appeals in the process with the state tax commission.
I would move for approval of the resolution 2023-10, approving the filing of cross appeals to 2023 appeals filed by taxpayers subject to centrally assessed.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded, all in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries, thank you. Personnel, number 8.
Well, thank you. I'd like to first cover the employee actions before getting back to A3 in discussions with the bailiff. So in the sheriff's office, Ryan Slack was selected from the most recent competitive process to backfill the full-time corrections deputy 1 position effective July 24th, 2023. Madison Croft has successfully completed her AMT certification, which makes her eligible for a promotion from a medical technician trainee to a medical technician effective July 23rd, 2023. And then from the most recent competitive selection process, the following employees were selected. Hayden Morton as the part-time CJC Victim Service Specialist, effective July 10th, 2023. Silas Carson as the part-time park custodian, effective July 18th, 2023. Deacon Huber as the seasonal parks outdoor maintenance technician, effective July 17th, 2023.
Yeah, I would move for approval in personnel, item A, 1 and 2, B and C as explained by Jennifer.
Second?
It's been moved and seconded, all in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries.
Perfect. And then back to A3. There we go. Upon the request of the sheriff, during the discussions and implementation of the step-in grade, the bailiff position remained unchanged, and was approved as a grade 8, where the beginning deputies were adjusted to a grade 10. With the bailiff position, we require that the employee is to be a certified employee. And in the past, we've been fortunate because retirees are.
You mean like certified post?
Yes, correct. Yes. And we've been fortunate to have those employees come after retirement and after they've filled their slot away from URS and come back, because it's been a good position for them. However, we've had the bailiff position open since January, and we've only filled one of their vacancies. So the sheriff has requested that this position be put more in line with what a deputy 1 would be. So to increase it from an 8 to a 10 in order to hopefully attract some more qualified applicants to apply. And with that, it will affect 2 of the positions that we currently have part-timers that are in that step, or in that grade 8, which is David Farley and Tom Cowan. And it would bring them to a 10. Yeah. With your consideration. And if you have any questions, you're supposed to be here, but I've got a little bit of information if you have any questions about it.
We're having that same issue throughout the county, so
Every-
I can
yes,
understand.
every department at this point.
You know,
And I know
Then we come back.
that they do work. There's a lot of times that there's patrol deputies filling that situation. I mean, they really are.
Every week.
They're helping each other
They
out.
are.
I think it's a fair request for the actual job that they're doing.
Entertain a motion. I would move for approval for starting bailiff wage adjustment from 8 to a 10.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Carries. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Jennifer, county boards, that's what we just basically approved, was established a recorder appeals board.
I think we ought to appoint John Whitaker as the appeals officer. I just wanted to see the look on his face.
Yeah, John. You
Do I get
deserve
a
it.
say in
I
that?
cannot think of anybody who deserves it more than you.
I just wanted to see the look on his face.
I will serve if asked.
I would move that the county commission just become that appeals board. Makes sense. Unless he has a burning desire.
I'm not gonna arm wrestle you.
Okay.
That's my motion is that
I would second
the
that.
commission serve as that appeals board.
I would second that.
We move and seconded that the commission be the appeals board for the recorder. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries. Thank you. All right.
I kind of like that idea.
Well, very good. Thank you all. Appreciate your patience with our technology. We'll keep that camera in the closet.
That's right.
Please.
We're gonna have it here. Issues again.
We'll declare this meeting adjourned.
Thank you.
It's done. All right.